The vast research station hummed with quiet energy, its sterile white corridors stretching like veins through the metallic heart of human space exploration. Jae-won Kim sat hunched over his holographic display, fingers dancing across translucent screens filled with complex genetic sequences. He was different from most researchers. Where others saw data, Jae-won saw stories. Each genetic strand whispered secrets of life, of survival, of potential waiting to be unlocked. His colleagues often joked that he was more in love with his research than with any human. That morning started like any other. Soft blue lights illuminated his workspace, the gentle hum of advanced computers creating a soothing background rhythm. Jae-won's dark eyes narrowed, tracking an unusual genetic mutation he had discovered 3 weeks ago. Suddenly, the station's massive airlock began to cycle. Most researchers would have barely noticed, but Jae-won's instincts prickled. Something felt different. The airlock's inner doors slid open with a precise hydraulic hiss. And there she stood, Hee-jin Park. But she was not human. Not even close. Standing nearly 3 meters tall, her body seemed constructed from living metal and soft biological tissue. Her skin shimmered with an iridescent quality that seemed to change color with every movement. Deep violet eyes scanned the research station with an intelligence that was both alien and remarkably familiar. Jae-won froze. Researchers trained for first contact scenarios, but training never prepared you for the actual moment. His hand automatically reached for the emergency communication panel, then stopped. Hee-jin's gaze locked directly onto him. No aggression, no threat. Just pure, intense curiosity. Jae-won Kim, she spoke. Her voice was a melodic blend of sounds that shouldn't have been possible. Part vibration, part language, part something entirely unknown. He didn't ask how she knew his name. In that moment, he understood she had been studying him, watching, learning. Her massive hand, more like an intricate mechanical sculpture than a biological limb, touched a nearby molecular display. The genetic sequence he had been studying transformed, revealing connections he had missed for weeks. "Your research," she said, "is incomplete." Jae-won should have been offended. Instead, he felt a surge of scientific excitement. Someone, or something, had seen something he hadn't. The station's other researchers began to notice. Whispers spread. Nervous glances. Protocol demanded containment, evaluation, potential threat assessment. But Jae-won saw something else. An opportunity. A bridge between unknown worlds. Hee-jin moved closer. Each step was calculated, precise. Her body seemed to adjust the station's environmental system simply by existing. Temperature, humidity, oxygen levels, everything synchronized around her presence. "I have traveled 16 light years," she said, "to find you." Those 7 words carried weight beyond mere language. A promise, a challenge, a beginning. Jae-won's mind raced. Why him? What made his genetic research so important that an alien civilization would send their representative across impossible distances? Her violet eyes continued studying him, not as a predator, not as a threat, but as a scientist studies a fascinating specimen, with respect, with genuine curiosity. The station's emergency protocols remained inactive. No alarms, no containment, shields. Just 2 intelligent beings. One human, one decidedly not, sharing a moment of pure scientific potential. Outside the station's reinforced windows, stars continued their silent dance. Millions of miles of empty space surrounded them, yet in this moment distance meant nothing. Jae-won realized his hands were shaking, not from fear, from anticipation. First contact wasn't supposed to feel like this. It wasn't supposed to feel like a conversation waiting to happen, like a story about to unfold. But here they were, a human, an alien, one research station, infinite possibilities, and everything was about to change. The research station's conference room felt different with Hee-jin present. Ordinary metal chairs seemed tiny compared to her massive frame. Jaewon watched her carefully, noting how she moved with a grace that defied her size. "Your genetic research interests me," she said, her voice causing subtle vibrations in the room's communication systems. "Not just as scientific data, as a potential foundation." Jaewon's colleagues exchanged nervous glances. Dr. Park, the station's senior researcher, cleared his throat. "What exactly do you mean by foundation?" Hyejin's violet eyes shifted, capturing every minute detail in the room. "In my civilization, partnership is not emotional. It is strategic, biological, evolutionary." She wasn't talking about love. She was discussing something more complex, a systematic approach to species advancement that humans could barely comprehend. Jaewon felt a strange mix of scientific fascination and personal unease. Her words suggested something beyond a typical research collaboration, something more unintimate. "We have observed humans for centuries," Hyejin continued. "Your species demonstrates remarkable adaptive capabilities, resilience, unexpected problem-solving skills." She touched a holographic display, revealing complex genetic maps that seemed to dance and intertwine. Jaewon recognized fragments of human DNA being manipulated in ways he had never imagined possible. "You want to study our genetics?" Dr. Park asked, his voice carrying a protective tone. "No," Hyejin responded. "I want to integrate." The room went silent. Integration meant something different in her language. Not just scientific study, not just collaboration. Something deeper. Jaewon's mind raced. He understood genetic potential. He knew about evolutionary advantages. But what she was suggesting challenged every conventional understanding of interspecies interaction. "By integration," Hyejin explained, "I mean a comprehensive biological partnership. Our genetic structures could produce offspring with unprecedented, adaptive capabilities." She wasn't proposing marriage. She was proposing a genetic revolution. Her hand, complex and mechanical yet somehow organic, moved across the display. Genetic sequences transformed, showing potential hybrid structures that looked both alien and familiar. Jaewon felt something he had never experienced before, a complete merger of scientific curiosity and personal excitement. This wasn't just research. This was a doorway to understanding life itself. "You are considering me?" he asked, surprised by his own directness. Hyejin's smile was not human. It was a complex communication of biological approval. "You possess genetic markers of extraordinary potential, creativity, intelligence, adaptability." The other researchers listened, some fascinated, some terrified. This was beyond first contact. This was a proposal of cosmic significance. "Our civilization has traveled thousands of light years," she continued. "We do not make such proposals, casually." Jaewon understood then that this was more than a scientific exchange. This was an invitation to participate in something larger than human understanding, a chance to expand the very definition of life. Dr. Park interrupted. "And what happens if we refuse?" Hyejin's response was simple. "Nothing. We continue observing, waiting, studying." The implication was clear. This was an opportunity, not a threat. Jaewon's mind calculated probabilities, genetic potential, species advancement, the chance to be part of something unprecedented. His colleagues watched, waiting for his response. One decision could change everything humanity understood about its place in the universe. Hyejin waited, patient, calculating. Her entire civilization compressed into this single moment of potential connection. The research station's systems hummed. Stars continued their silent dance outside reinforced windows. And in this small room, the future of two species balanced on a single moment of choice. Jaewon looked at Hyejin. She looked back. No words were needed. Some communications happen, beyond language, beyond biology, beyond understanding. This was one of those moments. The global communication network erupted with news of Hyejin's proposal. Governments scrambled. Military strategists analyzed every possible scenario. Scientists debated. Media sensationalized. Jaewon found himself at the center of a storm he never anticipated. Interviews, investigations, endless meetings where people talked about him as if he weren't even in the room. "We cannot allow potential alien genetic manipulation," declared Ambassador Rodriguez during a United Nations emergency session. Television screens worldwide broadcast the heated discussion. Hye-jin remained calm, too calm. She presented technological blueprints that made current human innovation look like elementary school projects. Advanced energy systems, medical technologies that could cure diseases humanity had struggled with for centuries. Her gift was both an olive branch and a challenge. The military saw opportunities. The scientific community saw potential. Politicians saw complications. "If we accept," one analyst argued, "we might be giving away our species' most fundamental genetic sovereignty." Jaewon understood their fears. Humans had always been territorial, protective, suspicious of the unknown, but he had seen Hye-jin's research. He knew this was different. Security protocols intensified. Every communication between Jaewon and Hye-jin was monitored, recorded, analyzed by teams of experts who tried to understand the depth of their potential collaboration. Weeks passed. Tensions grew. Some countries wanted to imprison Hye-jin. Others wanted to study her. A few radical groups demanded immediate communication shutdown. But Hye-jin remained patient. She shared technology that could solve global energy crises. Clean power systems that could transform entire continents. Medical advancements that could extend human lifespans. Her gifts came with no strings, no immediate demands, just pure potential. Jaewon watched the global reaction with a mixture of frustration and understanding. Humans feared what they couldn't immediately comprehend. "We are offering partnership," Hye-jin told a global press conference. "Not conquest." Her words were simple, direct, powerful. Intelligence agencies from multiple countries investigated her background. They found nothing conclusive. No threat, no hidden agenda, just pure scientific curiosity. The research station became a fortress of international interest. Cameras, researchers, government officials, all watching, waiting. Jaewon found himself giving more interviews than actual research time. His life had transformed from a quiet scientific existence to a global spectacle. "What do you want?" journalists would ask. His answer remained consistent. "To understand." Hye-jin's civilization remained distant. No aggressive moves, no threats. Just continuous communication and technological offerings. Some saw it as a sophisticated invasion strategy. Others saw it as a genuine attempt at interspecies communication. Military satellites tracked Hye-jin's potential communication networks. Quantum computers analyzed every transmitted signal. Global security systems remained on high alert. But nothing happened. No attacks, no invasions. Just continuous, patient communication. Jaewon understood something his colleagues didn't. This wasn't about conquest. This was about connection. Weeks turned into months. The global tension remained high. Every communication between Jaewon and Hye-jin was scrutinized, analyzed, debated. Political leaders from various countries demanded explanations. Scientific communities demanded more data. Military strategists demanded security guarantees. Hye-jin remained a mystery, powerful, intelligent, waiting. And through it all, Jaewon remained the unexpected bridge. A simple researcher who had become the potential key to humanity's most significant evolutionary step. The world watched, waited, wondered. One decision could change everything, and nobody knew what would happen next. 6 months after Hye-jin's arrival, Jaewon's world had completely transformed. Special training facilities prepared him for understanding alien biological systems. Advanced neural interfaces connected his brain to complex technological networks that stretched beyond human comprehension. Every morning began with intense biological adaptation protocols. Specialized chambers adjusted his body's cellular structure, introducing microscopic technological enhancements. His muscles grew stronger, His neural pathways expanded. His understanding of biological systems deepened. Jin supervised his transformation personally, not as a scientist, not as an alien, but as something between a mentor and a guardian. Humans limit themselves, she would explain during training sessions. You see boundaries where we see possibilities. The research facility became a unique ecosystem of human and alien technology. Walls shifted. Environments adapted. Everything seemed alive and responsive to their combined presence. Jaewon discovered he could now process information differently. Complex mathematical equations became visual landscapes in his mind. Genetic structures transformed from abstract data into living, breathing narratives. His colleagues watched in a mixture of fear and fascination. The man they knew was changing, becoming something more than human, something hybrid. Military observers recorded every transformation. Scientists took endless notes. Ethical committees debated the moral implications of such radical biological modification. But Jaewon felt something they couldn't measure. Freedom. Understanding. A connection to something larger than human experience. Jin introduced him to communication methods beyond language. Thoughts became transmissions. Emotions transformed into data streams. The boundary between biological and technological blurred. We are not replacing humanity, she explained. We are expanding its potential. His body changed subtly, increased muscle density, enhanced neural connectivity, improved healing capabilities. But these were not dramatic alterations, just gentle, precise improvements. Global media speculated continuously. Was this an invasion? A scientific experiment? A potential evolutionary leap? Jaewon's family watched with a mixture of pride and concern. Their son was becoming something they couldn't fully understand. Training involved more than physical adaptation. He learned alien mathematical systems, understood complex quantum interactions, saw universal patterns humans had never comprehended. Jin's civilization watched through sophisticated communication networks. Every transformation was carefully monitored, every biological adjustment precisely calculated. Some global leaders demanded stopping the process. Others saw it as humanity's greatest opportunity. Jaewon discovered he could now communicate with technological systems directly. Computer networks became extensions of his consciousness. Complex machines responded to his thoughts like living organisms. His scientific understanding expanded exponentially. Problems that had challenged human researchers for decades became simple puzzles. Genetic mysteries unraveled like simple children's games. The transformation was not just physical. His entire perception of reality shifted. Boundaries between living and technological systems disappeared. Jin observed his progress with something resembling pride. Not emotional pride, but a scientific appreciation of potential realized. You are becoming a bridge, she would tell him, between what humans are and what they could become. The ceremony happened on a space station suspended between Earth and the vast cosmic darkness. No traditional wedding hall could contain what was happening. This was more than a marriage. This was a cosmic alliance. Jaewon stood transformed. His body now carried technological enhancements that made him appear both human and something entirely new. Jin towered beside him, her massive form radiating an energy that seemed to bend the station's environmental systems. World leaders watched through advanced holographic interfaces. Scientists recorded every moment. Military strategists analyzed every detail. Their union wasn't about romance. It was about potential, about evolutionary possibility. Traditional wedding vows meant nothing here. Instead, they exchanged complex genetic sequences, biological promises that represented generations of potential advancement. Each transmitted sequence carried millions of years of evolutionary information. When they connected, the entire station's systems responded. Lights pulsed. Technological networks synchronized. For a moment, human and alien systems became one unified communication network. Global communication channels erupted with live broadcasts. Some humans watched in fear, some in wonder, some in complete scientific fascination. He Jin's civilization, observed from distant star systems. This wasn't just a personal connection. This was a strategic biological alliance that could reshape multiple species' futures. Jaewon's enhanced neural systems processed information at speeds impossible for standard human understanding. He saw their connection as a complex mathematical equation, a perfect biological solution to evolutionary challenges. The ceremony lasted moments, but those moments contained more information than entire human historical archives. Their genetic merge created something unprecedented, not a child, not a hybrid, but a living communication system that represented potential beyond current understanding. Government representatives signed complex treaties. Scientific protocols were established. Technological exchange agreements were drafted. But the real transformation happened beyond paperwork, beyond legal documents. It happened in the pure potential of their connection. He Jin's civilization had waited centuries for this moment, a bridge between species, a potential pathway to universal understanding. The space station became a living metaphor. Technological systems responded to their presence. Walls seemed to breathe. Communication networks pulsed with new energy. Jaewon understood now what previous humans could never comprehend. Connection wasn't about physical proximity. It was about shared potential, collective understanding. Media channels struggled to explain what was happening. Scientists wrote endless reports. Philosophers debated the deeper meanings. But in that moment, something simple happened. Two intelligent beings chose to expand beyond their individual limitations. Their union wasn't just biological. It was philosophical, mathematical, a living representation of possibility. Quantum communication. Networks transmitted their genetic sequence across multiple star systems. Each transmission carried the promise of future potential. Global reactions varied. Some celebrated, some feared, some simply watched in complete amazement. Jaewon looked at Hyejin. She looked back. No traditional human emotion passed between them. Just pure, precise understanding. The ceremony ended. But something larger had just begun. A new chapter in universal evolution had been written, and nobody knew exactly what would happen next. The cosmos watched, waited, wondered. Global scientific communities watched every development. Some saw hope, some saw threat. Most saw something they couldn't fully comprehend. Jaewon's body hummed with new potential, enhanced senses, improved cognitive capabilities, a connection to technological systems that defied previous human understanding. But beneath all the scientific marvel, something more fundamental happened. A human was expanding the very definition of what it meant to be human. The transformation continued, slow, precise, methodical, and the universe watched and waited.